Y'all, summer is coming fast, or summer may already be here depending on where you're at in the world or when you're seeing this video. And in the summertime, when you're hot, there's not much better than a nice scoop of ice cream. Two problems with that. The first one is the regular ice creams you'll find in the store are full of carbs, refined sugars, and ingredients you can't pronounce. You probably don't want to put in your body. Second problem is if you find a good low-carb ice cream that uses a sugar substitute, the substitute they use is most of the time not a good one, like sucralose. Sucralose is terrible on your gut. So today I'm going to show you my favorite ice cream recipe that I've ever come up with. This recipe has no special equipment. It has ingredients that are simple, they're clean, and things you probably already have in your pantry. And one of the best things is you can save a bunch of money making it yourself, and it's super simple. I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream today on Southern Keto. Stick around. All right, y'all, let's make some ice cream. Now, the first ingredient in this is cream. So I'm using heavy cream. I'm going in with 1.5 cups of it. Now, in some other countries, you may call this whipping cream. Here, it's heavy whipping cream. So either way. Next, I'm going in with 1.5 cups of almond milk. And I know I'm going to get the question, can we substitute the almond milk? Well, you could, but I wouldn't. There's a little bit of fat in the almond milk too. And this is unsweetened almond milk, by the way. That little bit of fat in there is really helpful. Next, I've got 1/4 teaspoon of gelatin. Now, I use the beef gelatin. I'll put links to everything I use down below. Could you use the other gelatin? Maybe, but this one comes out much better. So I'm just gonna kind of spread that over the top. I'm gonna give this a nice whisk. Now, you just wanna combine this. You don't wanna beat this heavy cream to death because, you know, you'll end up with heavy whipping cream. Or if you keep going, you'll end up with butter. So you just want to make sure that's pretty well combined there. Then I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of a fine vanilla extract. And if you wanted a little more vanilla-y, then add a little more vanilla-y. Now the next ingredient, this is very, very important, is allulose. You don't want to really use any other sweetener if you want the same results that I'm getting here. You want to use allulose. I have 3/4 cup of that. Now I get a lot of questions about allulose because actually on the container, it does list carbs. This is considered a rare sugar. It works just like erythritol in the body, so it does not absorb into your bloodstream like sugar does. So it doesn't spike your blood sugar. And in fact, some studies have said that it lowers your blood sugar. So it's one of my favorite sweeteners. If it worked well on everything, it's all I would ever use. Then I'm just gonna mix this together. Now listen, I know some of y'all are concerned about Old Yeller's well-being. Don't worry, Old Yeller's coming out in a minute, but there's a very specific reason I'm using this metal bowl. I'll show you in just a minute. Now I'm just going to pour my mix into a small saucepan. Make sure you get it all in there. Then I'm just going to bring this up on a medium-low heat to 125 degrees. Make sure you watch this stuff. If you've never had to redecorate your kitchen after boiling over some heavy cream, I want to try to save you that trauma. So just keep an eye on this. Now I just got this easy little digital thermometer here that you can use to check your temperature. Choose whatever you have. Once this gets up to 125, I'll be back to show you what to do next. Now once this hits 125 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm going to turn off the heat. I'm going to give this a little bit of whiskey business because I'm going in with 1/8 teaspoon of xanthan gum. I try to sprinkle that all around. The heating this up will make sure that this doesn't clump when you stir it up. Give that xanthan gum a good stir. And if you're wondering if you can just leave this out, I definitely wouldn't. Read some of the comments under the original video and you'll see. So I'm just going to stir that together. Make sure it's really well combined. And now I'm going to pour this back into my original bowl. All right, just make sure there's no clumps of xanthan gum in there. And just pour it right back into the original bowl. Now, can I keep it in this pot? Well, sure. So, you know, I'm trying to make this a fancy cooking video for you, so I want to use as many pots as possible. Now the reason I wanted to use the metal bowl is I've got old Yeller here full of ice. I'm just gonna put this bowl right down in there to cool it. Now, you could cool it in the fridge if you wanted to. This is just a way to speed it up. This will help bring it down. Just give it a little stir every once in a while. That'll help that cooling along. Oh, and I almost forgot, throw in half a teaspoon of salt. That's gonna bring out the sweetness in this. I'll be back as soon as this is cool. After this is cool completely, I'm just gonna give it a little stir. I'm gonna put this bowl right in the fridge. As soon as it's sat there for about 30, 45 minutes, I'll be back to show you what to do next. Now that that mixture's cooled down completely, I'm just gonna give it a stir, and I'm gonna separate this into these two wide mouth pint jars. Now you could combine this into 1 quart if you wanted to, but for me, portion control, if it's in a quart jar, the quart jar is the portion. So, I'm just gonna pour this out. Just get the same amount in each one. Now you want to leave some room at the top because we're going to be shaking this. So you want to make sure it just comes up to like the collar of the jar right there. I'm just going to put the lids on these. Now before you put these in the freezer, you need to shake them really good for about 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. So this is your workout for the day. All right, and then every half hour, take it out of the freezer, shake it for 1 minute, then put it back in the freezer. We're gonna do this 2 more times. So just keep doing that every half hour. You'll start seeing some little ice crystals form up here. You can just stir that in and give it another shake for a minute. Go back in for another half hour. Now here's the stage you want to make sure and catch this at. So this is about 2 hours in. It's going to depend on your freezer. But see how this is slushy like that around the edges and kind of liquidy in the middle? This is exactly what you want to give it its final shake. So go for 1 more minute. You can actually do this 1 more time if you want to. Leave it in for another half hour and do it. But you can totally leave this in the freezer overnight. And it's going to be fantastic tomorrow. And listen, you can take your time. You can do this like every 45 minutes or an hour if you want to. The thing is, you just want to keep it moving. For me, this is my exercise for the day, so it doesn't bother me a bit. I let this sit in my freezer overnight, and I want to show you exactly what it looks like when you go to scoop it. Most ice creams you make like this are hard as a rock. This, still nice and scoopable. That's why this combination of ingredients is so important. If you don't want it to turn into a brick the next day, do this. Here, get you a bite. Y'all, I hope you enjoy this recipe, and I hope it cools you off on a hot summer day. I love this stuff. Y'all, I'd love to know if you experiment with this and try shaking it like every hour or every 45 minutes or so. Y'all let me know in the comments if you try this and if there's a better way to do it. All right, I'm going to stop before I eat the whole thing. If y'all have any suggestions for ice creams that you'd like to see me make, please put that down in the comments, and I'm going to work on some of the best ones that I see down there. Now, if you do have an ice cream maker, I would definitely recommend checking out this video over here. It shows you exactly how to make it using that. Or if you like a chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream, well, check this video out right here. Y'all stay healthy, eat plenty of ice cream, but the good kind, and I'll see you on the next video.